Hi, it's Julie Hollinger from the Programs Management team at the PMFRC, and I am happy to have you joining us today. This is a pre-recorded session. We wanted to give you some information about a workshop that is coming up that we think is really important that the community knows about. For in a lot of cases, it's something that you might be familiar with, but not necessarily know the details. So we wanted to give you all the background and what to expect on the upcoming S.C.A.N seminar. I'm just going to go around the table quickly and introduce my guests. Captain Renee Motten and Siobhan McGarr are both here from the BPSO, as well as Janet Koopman, who is our Employment Service Coordinator. So just jumping in right quickly, what's a S.C.A.N session? I mean, I think people have heard the name. They may not necessarily know what it stands for, but what is a S.C.A.N session? And if someone's attending, what should they expect?
Okay, well, thank you so much for inviting us, Julie. It's really, really good. We want to get the word out there so that people will know about it and hopefully come and see us. And the S.C.A.N session stands for the Second Career Assistance Network. And what it is, it's kind of a forum to showcase the opportunities and options out there for people who are considering transitioning out of the military back into civilian life. So what we're looking at is a 3-day seminar or conference, if you will. It is going to be in person, but we'll also be streaming live to a virtual audience. And yeah, what we're doing is we're offering options, say, education-wise, employment-wise. And we're really lucky that this year we're able to partner with Jana's organization, the Employment Center, while they have a job fair on the first day. So what we're going to have is a whole slew of presenters over 3 days dealing with, again, it's just the options, things that are available, things that people might not necessarily have thought of, that they'll have access to if they decide to release. And there is also a day that showcases the same kind of options, but that are targeted more towards those who are releasing medically, so ill and injured, and what options are available to them.
So this is the first time in a while that we've been able to have a S.C.A.N seminar in person, is it not? We've been doing this virtually for several years now. You said you have a number of presenters. So there's people talking about just the education and employment part, or is there also people talking about sort of that release process and what to expect and sort of keep on your radar?
So short answer is yes, yes to both. So it's broken up into 3 days. So the first day is kind of focusing more on education and employment options. So we will have booths downstairs on the main floor of the Civic Centre, where people will be able to kind of browse through different schools, local and national employers, just to kind of get an idea of what's out there. But the presenters will be mostly that day geared towards second careers, or maybe sometimes third careers. So we'll have people say like CNL and the OPP, just different venues or different avenues rather, for people to explore with the qualifications that they have or that they think they might end up with by the time they do release. Because it's not necessarily someone is saying, yes, I'm going to release. It's like, I'm thinking maybe what's out there, I'll take a look around. And so day 2 is more the actual transition out of the CAF and into civilian life. So it's more what to expect when you transition. And then day 3, it's medical. So there's a lot of the kind of the behind the scenes that nobody really knows what to expect for medically releasing.
I think for a lot of people, and one of the messages we talk about is you don't know what you don't know. And I think for a lot of people, there are deadlines and there are things that you have to do leading up to a release that once that paperwork is done and once you've gone, you might have missed the opportunity. So making sure that you're aware of all of those opportunities and sort of sitting through a S.C.A.N seminar is going to give you so much more of that opportunity. You talked about people who may not necessarily be releasing, but thinking about it, who can attend the S.C.A.N seminar? So like, as you said, you don't necessarily have to have a release date, but who can sign up and who can come and join us for that session?
Actually, we always tell our members that they should attend at least 2 to 3 times throughout their career S.C.A.N seminar, just because there's so much valuable information that they can gather. And there's a lot of information too. We do have over 25 presenters. So it's really good, you know, if early on in your career you want to just attend to get a general idea of what's out there, what information there is, and programs available for you in the future. It's always great to attend. So you don't have to actually have a release date in mind. You can attend early on in your career, but of course, if you're releasing as well, we really push for people to attend because, as Siobhan said, there's a lot of great information for them to understand the release process. But it's not just geared to military members as well. We do also recommend that they bring their support person or their partner with them to S.C.A.N, just to have that extra person there, another set of ears to hear all the information. It's really important for them to come as well.
I know one of the comments that we hear from family members is they have questions, but they don't necessarily know where to start. And they always feel like they have to go through the member to ask those questions. So giving them the opportunity to ask the questions firsthand. And sometimes when you hear the information, that's when you think about the questions. You don't necessarily know about it until something is twigged from there. You talked about the medical release day on day 3. So that information is much more targeted. If someone's on the fence about what type of release that they're going to go through, do you recommend that they go or?
Definitely doesn't hurt to attend it just in case. You know, the information is always valuable, and perhaps they don't end up medically releasing. They can always provide the information that they learned that day to other coworkers.
So you talked briefly about the fact that there's going to be a career fair. So there's a second career assistance network, obviously S.C.A.N, but the idea of a job fair is something that we've added a couple of times. Can you talk about why a job fair and actually bringing employers and also educators to this forum is so important for people who are making that the idea of transition maybe a little bit more real in their heads?
So what we're finding out is that when people release, they don't necessarily have a game plan. And so the idea of bringing the employers or the schools to them, where they can sit and see, maybe schooling's an option, and they can go and ask their questions, because it brings it right back to what you said, when you don't even know what you don't know. So if someone doesn't necessarily know where to look to, for adult education upgrading, or if someone doesn't know what kind of employers are local, if they decide, I'll leave the military, but I want to stay in the area, we're trying to bring what we can to them just to make that a little bit easier, so they don't have to constantly sit there and think, okay, if I want to do this, because they don't know what they don't know. So we're just bringing things in closer to them. So it'll be, I don't want to say a one-stop shop, but it's like, oh, Veterans Affairs is going to be here. Oh, CNL, oh, they have a booth. I can pick up things from them. So it's just, it brings the options a lot closer, instead of hearing someone say, well, you can always hire, CNL is hiring, you can always apply there. It's like, well, why don't you folks, after their presentation, go downstairs and see them at their booth to see exactly what it takes?
And that fact-finding process can be so long, and oftentimes the information you're looking for specifically is on the website. So you leave an email address or you leave a telephone number, and the person getting back to you maybe isn't necessarily the person that's best suited to ask the question. All the people who are best suited to answer the questions are going to be in one spot. So you can ask those questions directly and talk to the people who really understand those programs that are geared to the military. Jana, you are working with our Employment Services team. And for those people who don't know, Employment Service is a service that is available to anybody in the community from that Petawawa to De Revere area, even if you are not military, if you're not a military family member, not associated with the military in any way. If somebody is watching this, they don't have that association with the military, but they are looking for a job, how can this career fair benefit them?
Well, the nice thing in taking advantage of the S.C.A.N is that, we've got a lot more national employer interest coming, and a lot of these educators are coming too, looking at talking to veterans, but it gives us the opportunity as a community to access these organizations as well. So if you're in high school in grade 12 and you're not sure about post-secondary or getting a job, this is your opportunity to meet some of these employers or talk to some of these schools about programs that might be relevant to you. And if you are, you currently have a job, but it's not quite meeting your needs, this is your opportunity to gain more information and get that one-on-one time to chat with recruiters from organizations that interest you. It can make all the difference. There's a lot of applying online that happens, but being able to talk to an actual person and ask your questions in person, it can be a really difficult to get experience that we're really happy that we're able to provide. Additionally, we've got military families and spouses who are interested in seeking out some of that information about opportunities for them. And we're open to everybody. So even if you're just curious, even if, there's an employer that you tried to apply a few times and you never heard anything back, even, we just encourage everybody to come out and see if they can learn something and see if they connect with some employers and find more of that information they need to make good career decisions.
And if you are a little bit nervous about a job fair, because it can be a little bit overwhelming to have all of those people there, you're not necessarily sure what to wear, what to bring, how to put your best foot forward, I'd encourage you to call the Employment Services Office, because they're going to have a lot of those tips going forward to make sure that you can make the most use or really benefit the most from this opportunity to speak to employers directly. So before we end, can we sort of go over the last minute details, where, when, how to register, and just make sure that anybody who's interested can attend. We are going to put all of these sort of logistical details in the comments and in the introduction. So if you don't catch all of it right away, that's going to be below. Where, when, and how do you register?
Yeah, so it's going to be at the Civic Centre here in Petawawa, and it's going to be from June 6th to 8th. The timings are from 8 in the morning until about 4 p.m. every day. And to register, you can click on the link that's going to be attached to the post.
Okay.
And you can also email, we'll include an email there as well if you would like to register.
And the job fair is available on the 6th of June only, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
The job fair is the 6th of June and it's from 11 until 6. So we can capture those people who are working daytime hours on a Tuesday. And anybody is welcome. There's no need to register for that at all. But if you want some prep, we would love to help you here with your prep, get your resume ready, print off some copies, give you some tips and tricks about how to present your best self to the employers that you're talking to.
Jana, I'm going to put the contact information for Employment Services in the comments as well. So if people want to take you up on that offer, they will know how best to find you. Thank you all for taking the time to join us and give us a little bit more information about S.C.A.N. Like I said, it's one of those things that we've sort of seen signs in the community. We've maybe heard about what S.C.A.N is, but didn't necessarily know what it was. And I think for the takeaway message that I always find so interesting is I had no idea that the spouse or the family member can attend with the member and ask those questions directly. So if you are partnered with, or you're the caretaker, or you are interested in the release process for the person, your loved one, you are welcome to join that S.C.A.N session as well. Thank you all for joining us. We hope to see you all June 6th to 8th. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.